welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Look into the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 84. I'm back with my co-host, Antaku. What's going on, man?
Not much. I'm just watching this Childish Gambino video for like the 50th time. I've not even
looked at it yet. I'm I either do that after the show. I've heard good things, though.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is...
We were talking about him at work. He's been winning lately, like a lot.
The man is a renaissance man. Who would have thought the dude from Bro Rape would come this far?
Everybody got to start somewhere. Yeah, I gotta catch up. I haven't even I'm probably gonna get a Hulu free trial just to watch Atlanta because I've never watched Atlanta, and everybody tells me they think it's a show that I would love. So I might have to get the little free trial just so I can watch it.
Well, had one of the dude who directed the video, the This Is America video, and I guess was it the Flying Locust, Kendrick Lamar, See Me Now? What was it called?
Catch Me, yeah.
Catch
Me something.
Yeah. The dude who directed those music videos does a lot of work on the show. I think he's directed a few episodes. So if you watch this video and you watch that video and you watch Atlanta, it all kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a look. But yeah, Gambino's been out here. He's been winning in life. The SNL was last night, right?
Yep. That's my favorite thing. Gambino, his thing now is just to show up on SNL shirtless and stare deadpan at the audience.
Hey man, this man he's been killing in every field he goes into. This dude is.
He's a part of Star Wars and he's a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kinda. Right. So
winning,
he has checks from all over, and he
hey man,
yeah.
That's how you gotta do it. That's how you'll stay around forever. That's Star Wars.
Can't wait. Oh, I forgot he's in Lion King. He's Simba.
No, it's not. I forgot about that.
So even more money.
But who's your agent? How are you getting your manager? I hope Star Wars is good because I plan on seeing that my birthday weekend. And I actually initially wasn't really interested in watching it, but it'll be something to do. So that movie better be good. I'm gonna go out of my way to see it.
Not to be a pessimist. I expect it to be good. Why didn't they just do a Lando Calrissian movie? I get Solo's Harrison Ford, big deal, but Lando, the story is a lot more interesting, I think. Former smuggler who became, I don't even know, king of a planet?
I feel like sometime with all these, I don't say reboots, but they're re-diving into the franchise now. I feel like that can still happen. And
I mean,
that'd be another Gambino check.
Yeah.
Yet again. Well,
he has another 20 years of looking 18,
right.
So.
Yeah, so you got between now and then to get that movie shot, get it out of there before he eventually starts aging at the age of 65. When he'll get his first wrinkle.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess before we get started, shout outs to the top cities that have listened. So I'll just run through the top 5. Number 1, Mountain View, California. Number 2, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Number 3, Houston, Texas. Number 4, Buffalo, New York. Number 5 is actually a tie between a lot of different places. So I'll just shout out Miami, Florida. Richmond, Virginia, and Richmond, South Africa. So shout outs to South Africa.
This is the first time like most of the top 5 has been from the
Right.
United States.
I don't know where Egypt's been, man. Where you guys go?
Hamburg, Germany.
Right.
What's good? Like, I
Right.
thought we were
Well,
boys.
you know what though? It's probably my fault. The numbers have slipped, I think, because we just didn't record the other week. So I watched the numbers just slowly dip and trail off. Yeah, we were gonna record last week. This was my fault because I don't know what it was. I didn't look at what the schedule was. So for some reason I thought the Nunes Pennington card was gonna be last week. And then I looked at the schedule, I was like, oh, that doesn't happen for a while. And I was like, oh, well, it's too late. So Bellator came and went. And, yeah, I just decided to kind of take a week off. But it's cool.
I mean, let's be real. If we really sat there and talked about Bellator,
like 20 minutes. It wasn't a whole lot to go about.
we would have eventually got to the point of just bitching, which we might do today. But
at least there'll be more content to complain about than other than Bellator, which lasted like a full 20 minutes, because like every fight was a finish.
Yeah, every fight was a first round finish.
I mean, which is great. I'm not gonna complain because Lord.
I mean, I will, because that was a 3-hour card.
Oh, see, it was different for me because I watched it on the website the day after, so I didn't have to worry about commercials and I just watched videos, click onto the next. Yeah, I heard during the broadcast there were tons of commercials because like everybody was losing so fast. But so we took the week off, but I mean I was trying to catch up on album reviews. Which, by the time you guys hear this is, I think I said episode 84. I'll be recording 85 probably as soon as we finish recording this to catch up on album reviews so you can hear me talk about Infinity Wars. So that'll be a thing. I finished my book, which was a big landmark. Still not done. Finishing the book is half the battle. So yeah, I've been working this week. I've been doing a lot, but.
When's that Book of Ryan review dropping?
I'm gonna try to do that after this one. So by the time you guys hear this, I'll have a review out for Infinity Wars, J. Cole, KOD, and Obliv and Fly Anakin, and then
Sensei. When is the Designer album review? How many internet dollars do I have to donate to the till to make that happen?
Hold up, is that on Spotify?
I assume so.
Let me see how many tracks this is to see if I would even be willing to give this a listen.
I think it's 7, or I could just be pulling the number out of my ass. I don't know.
Oh no, you're right.
Oh. How you wait 2 years to drop an album and it's only 7 tracks long?
Hey man, he said I gotta get straight to the point. Yeah, I don't know.
It got one feature on it.
It's a song called Tonka. Pop It with 2 I's. Oh, I guess that's Designer. That's his thing. Everything is 2 I's.
One of the producers on that song, according to Wikipedia, is just called 16-year-old.
I don't know. We'll see if the Designer episode happens. But
they waited 2 years for that A$AP Rocky feature.
Oh boy. But Book of Ryan is that'll be coming. That'll be coming soon. It's been getting some.
Oh, and Janelle Monáe.
I never finished listening to that. I listened to like half of it while I was at work, and then I got distracted with work stuff, and I couldn't finish it. But yeah, so we took a week off, but you guys will get 2 episodes this week, and it'll be pretty much back to regularly scheduled programming. So before we get to all these fights, between the last time we recorded and now, there has been a crazy amount of fights, like news and stuff that's been going on. So yesterday I was, I tried to be proactive for once. I got all of the notes listed. None of these are really in order, so I'm just gonna kind of breeze through these because there's a lot of them. So I'm just gonna run through just a lot of fight headlines and news of random things that happen, and maybe at the end of that we'll just go back and expand on a few of these. Starting at the top, I have Jinyu Frey versus Mina Grusander, atomweight title fight at Invicta FC 31. Lear Latifi, Glover Teixeira will be at UFC Hamburg. For anybody who's a fan of One Championship, they launched an app, so you can download that at your app store. I browsed through the app. It was actually pretty cool. They don't have the full catalog up there yet, but they still have like fights and interviews you can watch. So give that a look. James Vick versus Paul Felder, UFC Boise. Eddie Alvarez is currently having contract issues. We'll get on that later, but they definitely need to re-sign him. But he's having contract issues right now, so you know how that goes. Derek Brunson versus Antonio Carlos Jr. at UFC 227. Will Brooks versus Luis Firmino will be at, I think this is PFL 2. Ray Borg had his fight with Moreno. That fight got mixed up, so now Ray Borg is fighting Alexandre Pantoja at UFC Chile. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Tisha Torres at UFC on Fox 30. Jesus Christ, this list is long. Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis, UFC 226. Blagoy Ivanov coming to the UFC. Oh, he's been in UFC before, right? Was he? I can't remember. But Ivanov.
Blagoy? It was in Bellator.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Bellator.
And World Series of Fighting.
Well, he's making his UFC debut against JDS at UFC Boise. That's a interesting matchup. Saad Awad versus Ryan Couture and Bellator. Don't have what event that is. Israel Adesanya's next opponent will be Brad Tavares. Gunnar Nelson had to pull out of the Neil Magny fight due to knee injury. Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens, UFC Calgary. Marcin Tabora and Stefan Struve, UFC Hamburg. Damian Maia will be stepping in and fighting Usman at UFC Chile. John Dodson is also having, I guess, contract issues. His negotiations have stalled. I think technically he's a free agent, but I believe he wants to come back. But you know how that goes, so we'll keep an eye on that. Mark Diakese and Nasrat Haqparast at UFC Hamburg. Nick Newell will be finally getting his chance to, get some shine. He will be on Dana White's Fight Contender Series, so that's pretty awesome. Rumblings of Dan Hardy, who may want one more fight. I'm not sure if he's floated any names out there, but that might be a thing. Leslie Smith continues her beef with the UFC. She has filed a complaint against the UFC with the National Labor Relations Board, which has a lot to do with, I guess her argument with Project Spearhead. Of course, the UFC sees it different, so that'll probably be an ongoing battle. Max Griffin versus Curtis Millender at UFC 226. And the last fight announcement I have listed is Peter Yan will be making his UFC debut, coming over from ACB against Teruto Ishihara. Whew. All right, that was a lot. So let me go back real quick. What do you think of the Adesanya Tavares matchup?
Yeah, Joe. I think it was the last time Joe was on here, but he said something about the UFC making sure nobody ever gets over them on them again, like Conor did. And this is kind of just reminds me of like that, where like they just want him to lose. or they don't care if he loses. They're just going to give him the tough fight to see if he's ready. So, crap. What was the dude's name he just beat? Was it Marvin Vettori? Yeah, no. So, Adesanya almost lost to Marvin Vettori. Brad Tavares is a lot better than Marvin Vettori. And I see a 3-round grind fest, whether that be against the cage or on the ground in Adesanya's future. Maybe he's special and he just breaks through, but I don't like the matchup for him.
This gonna be a tough out. I think he can win the fight. I wouldn't pick him as a favorite.
Yeah, because like he is a specialist at something. Like, if you're a specialist, like you always got that thing in your pocket.
Because I think with him, like I think a lot of people when this fight got announced, we just had visions of Tavares, just like you said, grind against the cage or just take him down and kind of beat him up, because that's obviously like the one area of Adesanya's game that still needs work. But on the same token, Tavares isn't like out here blasting Olympic double legs on everybody he fights. So I mean, I think there'll be a portion of this fight that stays on the feet that Adesanya will have moments to take advantage of. But I mean, Tavares can crack too, so I don't know, man. It's a big leap. And then I also was wondering, like, even if let's say Adesanya does win, if you beat Tavares, you can't go back after that. Like, you can't fight Tavares and then go back to fighting like the Vittorias of the world. No disrespect to him, but you know, like
right.
So now you're really in with the Sharks, and
Derek Brunson is in your immediate future.
And those fights, once you start getting to those guys, like we might end up, you know, he might have a great showing against Tavares, and he could easily get mauled in whatever his next opponent is if he's, you know, making his way down that top 15 ladder. So I don't know, man. That's, ugh. I mean, I'm as a fan, I'm rooting for him, but the road is it's not about to get easy. But we'll see how that fight goes. No other fight that I wanna.
Not to cut you off or anything, but did we announce that the next tough season will be heavyweights and women's featherweight?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. So the UFC is planning. I'm not sure if they're gonna keep everybody that's signed to like the women's featherweight tough. I'm not sure if it's just like or if it's just gonna be like the winner gets to fight Cyborg and die. But like I spent like the last couple of days trying to come together with like 16 women who the UFC could theoretically sign to be on tough. I got to 12, so you know that's something.
Start.
And you know, some of these are women who are like, yeah, I'm definitely trying out. Some of them are like, yeah, I just need to find a place in Vegas. Some of them don't have social media, so I can't freaking tell. Some of them age or like their records probably, because you know the thing is you have to be like 21 to 34, and you have to have at least like three fights. You know, some of them don't even have that. But you know, but point being, they could field an 8-woman field basically. I think they can do that. So, you know, just throwing that out there.
Well, at least I'm glad that shows they're showing some interest in building 45, like somewhat. So yeah, I mean, you can't have a division with like 3 fighters. So, hey man,
I mean, that's being generous.
I mean, we got to start somewhere. At this point, any step is progress in that division in terms of just finding some bodies. I mean, hopefully they're of quality, you know, but it's something. It's something. But I'm glad they're doing that, and please, I hope we can get a good heavyweight out of. Just give me one. Just give me one.
We'll probably get like a couple like decent ones that'll stick around for a while, but like I don't like tough for heavyweights because it just leads to bad fights, and Like you're really not gonna build somebody's stock having them look bad on TV 3 times before they're in the UFC.
Oh boy, we'll see. Those might be some entertaining fights.
Unless they're just like a buzzsaw
Yeah,
and wrecking balling dudes and shit.
maybe they should get those super heavyweights I saw when I went to the fights the other week. grab one of those guys and throw them down there.
Get Boruto. Here, what was his name? The sumo dude.
Should grab Puds. Oh man, but yeah, that's the thing. So that'll be cool. Well, I guess sticking on that, I'm glad Nick Newell's getting his chance on the Contender Series. I hope that works out well for him. I mean, only lost to Justin Gaethje. That's nothing to be ashamed of. So I hope he has some solid showings. Do you think there's a possibility that the UFC doesn't get this right with Eddie Alvarez?
He's coming back. I mean, he's coming back. I think the real hang-up is the Poirier fight, and he just really wants a title shot. And Eddie's never not been a guy to politic. Like, you go back to his Bellator career where he's like, yo, oh, wait, I'm signing back. Or, you know, he basically lawyered himself out of his contract. Because I'm pretty sure he had one fight left, right?
Something like that, yeah. They had a nice ongoing feud before he finally left.
That was with Bjorn though, because I think they finally let him go with Coker took over. But like there's a dude who left with the title, who still had a fight on his contract. Like Eddie Alvarez knows the game. Yeah, I mean, is there a chance they don't get it right? I mean, sure, but like, what else does Eddie do? Does he go fight in Japan? I'm not sure that Bellator is going to like welcome him back with open arms after he left.
I think that door probably closed. I mean, Rosin's pretty fun.
I mean, it's fun, but like, how much do you think Darren Cruikshank is getting paid?
That, and I don't know how active he would like be over there. I mean, maybe we get some of that PFL money, you know.
I mean, we get, and in all honesty, we just end up seeing him murder Takanori Gomi.
Yeah, I know nobody needs.
Because that's the way Rizin makes fights.
and we don't need to see that. None of us need to. None of us need to watch that. But I hope they definitely they sign him back. Like he's just.
And I hope they do too.
You need guys like that. Like he's giving you a fun out. Like literally every time. Well, all right, not literally. His first couple of fights were kind of it, but lately he's been on fire. So,
but lightweight's a fucking clusterfuck, man. The top of that division, like Khabib, God only knows if he's going to make weight the next time he defends his title. He literally might just lose the belt on the scale. Like McGregor is apparently just coked out of his mind. Tony Ferguson is one workout away from just never being able to walk again. Eddie Alvarez's his contract is up in the air, and the only one ready to go is Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, I don't know. Lightweight is... Yeah, that division's gotten real weird lately. I mean, all the talent's still there, but just a lot of strange happening.
It's all top down. It's top down.
Well, we'll see though. I hope they bring Eddie back. Blagoy Ivanov and Junior Dos Santos.
Blagoy.
This fight almost scares me. I mean, a couple years ago, I wouldn't even have thought about this. Like JDS by whatever he feels like doing when he woke up that day. But I don't know, man. JDS has been a little wishy-washy lately.
Well, I mean, you say that, but well, I guess, but like, it's been a weird like few years for JDS since I guess 2014, because that's when he started doing the I only fight once a year thing. Because he didn't fight. His last fight was in May of last year. I can't blame him. Like, dude, the Rothwell fight, he probably could have turned around from that quicker. But like, you go whenever he fights a war.
You gotta slow it down.
Yeah. Like I really don't know because like Bagoy's strength is that he's a wrestler, and that's not really the thing that is, messed with JDS in the past. But JDS is much more like pressure fighters who can put him to his back to the cage and then bomb on him. Or in the case of Overeem, who was at that point just legitimately way faster on the feet than JDS was. Like, Jay is kind of a plotter at this. He's always kind of been a plotter, but like even for heavyweight standards, he's not. He doesn't have the quickest feet. Coming forward, like I don't know what this fight looks like. Like, is JD like it's pretty clear that JDS is physically deteriorating. I don't know if that means his wrestling game will just be like not there anymore. So I'm gonna pick JDS maybe by decision. I'm not sure if his power is really all there anymore either. Like, he hasn't knocked. The last person he knocked out was Mark Hunt, and that was 5 years ago.
Mm.
Granted, he's fought Velasquez, Miocic twice, Overeem, and Ben Rothwell in that time span. But like, even the Rothwell fight, I don't remember like a moment where like, oh shit, Rothwell's like 2 seconds away from being knocked out.
Yeah, I think he tagged him a few good times, but yeah, I don't think he. I don't remember if he was literally about to put him out, but I don't know. I just thought that was a real interesting matchup. I mean, I'm still gonna pick JDS. I think he just has more ways to win. And
yeah,
Bagoy's not a big heavyweight either.
He is 5'11". That's
So I think JDS just has a lot working in his favor, but like somehow I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Bagoy found a way to. I don't know. He I don't know. Like I could just somehow see an upset happening. But
right. Like, yeah, I can see him catching him over the top. But like the punches that Overeem and Miocic landed to knock like JDS out had literally all their body weight behind it. Like the right hand Stipe landed was a freaking cannon shot. And I'm like, does Bagoy have that in him? But at the same time, is like, does he even need that at this point for JDS?
We'll see though. We'll see. So and I guess real quick, what other fight was
Did Kayla Harrison fight?
No, I don't have that listed.
Oh, two-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison makes her debut against Brittany Elkin at PFL 2.
The PFL.
I mean, she's been with them. She's been doing commentary with them. It's just, I'm curious what she looks like when she actually gets in the cage, because Ronda was like the perfect athlete to be the first legitimate like woman superstar. Like, for all her mental faults and all her technical faults as a striker, she was like legitimate, like a quick twitch, legitimately powerful in the clinch, like strong athlete with punching power. I'm wondering if Kayla Harrison's going to kind of look like Satoshi Ishii, where like lumbering, a little bit more bulky and stuff like that.
Has PFL had any women fights?
Yeah, they had Jaguar was the champion.
That seemed so long ago.
I mean, it was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Those times.
This is back when they were the World Series of Fighting. But that's interesting. The Joanna and Jacek fight, Tisha Torres, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that one's hard for me. The fan in me wants to pick Torres, but my God, that's a hard 2-fight stretch to go from Andrade to Young Jacek, and I get it. Young Jacek's coming off a loss, but I don't know. I think Torres can win this, but it's not gonna be easy though. It won't be easy.
Yeah. Like Torres was always an interesting opponent for Joanna. I don't think she's as good as a striker, but her style of striking is just. I just like. There's something about that I can see frustrating Joanna, but since she's brought back the leg kick to her game, like I can see her just chewing up Torres's legs.
I almost feel like this might go like the Andrade fight. Like she'll make it competitive in like the first round, and then maybe eventually she might just kind of get overwhelmed. Like it might just be too much.
Right.
But
one thing she has working for her is Joanna hasn't fought in a 3-round fight in forever.
Yeah, so if you can still around here or there, might be enough to EQ out just like a really, really close decision. But yeah, that's gonna be a good fight.
Right.
Though. That's gonna be a good one. I guess the last thing, if you even have any thoughts, how do you think this Leslie Smith situation is gonna fold out?
Probably not in her favor, but I'm wishing her the best of luck.
Yes, from what I've read, like I don't think the UFC's even like responded yet to. Well, I guess like her complaint.
I mean, yeah. Why would they? Because.
And I guess to explain for people who don't know, so I guess her issue is that she's saying that the UFC basically, like the 62 grand they paid her, that basically I guess she's trying to say like they lowballed her, like they just paid her off to get her out of here, and it's because that she's with Project Spearhead and that she's kind of like going against them. I don't know how you prove that in a court of law.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing that she's gonna have an uphill battle with is because I feel like the UFC can kind of easily just say like, you know, your contract was up and we're not obligated to re-sign you, so here's your 62 grand, you know, shoo, like
Right.
get out of here. And yeah, like I want to root for her. I mean, I am rooting for her. I always go against the man. So root for anybody who's trying to take the man down. But in a court of law, yes, it's gonna be. I'll be interested to hear like how they're gonna present their argument, how that's gonna go over. But yeah, I don't know. She got an uphill battle, but I wish her the best though. I definitely wish her the best. But all right, so let's get to some of these fights. So where do we even want to start?
Let's go back a week.
Oh, all right.
To Florida.
The weirdest state.
The worst state, but the best state for nonsense fighting.
Oh man. Oh god, my screen just froze.
So which Florida card do you want to start with?
I mean, oh my god, my screen froze.
I'd like to point out UFC. Oh, yeah. No, this I'll spring this up when we decide which one we start with. Because we're not really going to talk about the fights on either of these cards. But we will talk about the fact that they happened.
Oh snap! Hold up. Which Florida ones? Because my screen froze.
Mr. Suave versus the Spartan, or Boss Rutan presents Backyard Karate Fighting Volume.
I see. Since I didn't see these, I'll have to let you fill me in on.
But like I said, I didn't watch the Camsoda Legends card because I was not giving my porn site my email address. So it's to know, but I feel it's very important that we bring up that it happened.
Oh yeah, this is MMA innovation at its finest, or worse, however you want to look at it.
I mean, I think it's great. because apparently during the card you were allowed to tip fighters whatever amount you wanted. Because again, for those who don't know, and let's be honest, you all know, Camsoda is a I was gonna say a cam girl site, but that seems unfair because I'm sure they have cam guys. I'm sure that's a thing to somebody, right?
Yeah.
They are but just for brevity, they are a cam girl site, and that decided to hold an MMA card. And one of the features of such a site, I assume, is that you're allowed to tip the girl. So they're like, why don't we just make that for the fighters instead of like them getting sponsors? And one of the fighters, which one was it? It was Mr. Carl Darbuse, had the pleasure of having to read his sponsor, who paid the most amount in tips, I guess, who is a man by the name, or woman, I don't know, by the name of I Have Huge Titties. And that's the level of classiness we're dealing with on the Camsoda's Legend card. Mr. Charles Felony / Crazy Horse Bennett fought on the card and lost. And then, UFC reject and all-around terrible person Alex Nicholson fought on the card. He fought Rico Rodriguez and won, sadly. But it led to the greatest post-fight interview ever.
Which we just watched.
Yes.
Right before
that wasn't Charles Rosa, who's listed as the one of the TV announcers. So I'm assuming that other guy was Jay Adams, who I am sure was very, very low in his bottle. Drinking there at ringside during the fights. Because there's no way he was sober when he did that. In which he goes on a curse-laden rant, complaining to the UFC that Alex Nicholson isn't back in the UFC. What was his words exactly? It's fucking bullshit. Imploring both the live audience, who I can't even imagine who goes to an MMA card promoted by a porn site. I would, but I don't live in Florida, so.
Oh, man.
But he implored the audience to get on social media and tweet at Dana White in the UFC to let Alex Nicholson back in the UFC. And all I can imagine is Dana White getting a tweet at 2:30 in the morning from a handle that is just I have huge titties. Being let Alex Nicholson back in, you fuck.
Oh man, this sport has come a long way. Oh man.
But we also have in Florida, because you can't have just one crazy fight night in Florida. If it's gonna be crazy, you got to spread the love. I don't know who the actual sponsor is, so I'm gonna just keep saying Bas Rutten held the karate card in MMA gloves in a shipyard under a bridge in Florida. All you really need to know is 900 people watched it live. And I don't mean in person. In person, it was probably 50 to 100 people. I mean on the YouTube stream that they posted. 900 people watched it live. All the fighters were wearing gi pants and MMA gloves. So and the way they were brought to the I didn't even mention this. It was fought in a pit. So welcome back pit fighting to the combat sports world. We very much miss you. RIP BKB if they're not around anymore. But they closed off this entire street so that these karate dudes could be driven down the street. And what were those, like black Rolls Royces, or like I couldn't even make out what type of car they were. Like these really nice ass cars, and they're driving down the street at like 2 miles an hour. Obviously, nobody's putting their foot on the gas. And then they pull up to like these Lamborghinis, stop, and let the fighters out, and they're just dudes in gi pants and MMA gloves. That is, except for the one man who again, this is a shipyard or so there's a river right there. So he decided, you know what, I'm gonna roll in on a boat, and so he rolled in on a boat.
Hey man,
and I'm like,
style points for entrance.
Exactly. That gets you a 10-9 early.
Yeah, it was, the pit reminded me of like an old Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Like, I don't know if you guys ever, God, what's the name of that old movie? I think it was Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That setup,
no idea.
Setup reminded me of that. But
I'm just gonna put this out there. If Bellator had spines, this is how Dada 5000 versus Kimbo Slice would have happened. But they're cowards.
I mean, though, to their credit, the fighters were actually pretty good. Were.
Oh yeah, like they were, and this is the best part about it. Half of these guys were legit karate world champions.
Yeah, like dudes were
like,
yeah,
like they would bring up the resumes. And he's like, oh, this guy's a Pan Am champion who is like a trainer of karate on the Dominican Republic military team or whatever. And I'm like, God damn, he's fighting in a shipyard.
I loved it actually, and if you guys want to watch, I think the event was called Karate Combat Inception.
Yes, and it's still up, and
they have it. They have it on YouTube. Now. Like you can watch, I think, like the whole card on YouTube. So just type.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. The fights are really good. Like it's just the setup is different.
There is literally a shipping container in the background that they spray painted. Well, I'm not sure if they spray painted or like they got professional work done. Karate combat on the side of it, and there are people sitting on top of it. It's amazing.
And just to paint the picture, so this event is invite only. So just imagine, I guess, a bunch of rich people who is probably some rich guy who just invited all of his rich friends, and we're just gonna gather around this random pit, and we're gonna watch people do karate to the highest level.
It's a bunch of dudes in buttoned-up shirts and like suits, just sitting around staring at these dudes in the cage. And then like every once in a while, this is random dudes in like a Reebok shirt.
It's dope though. Like I watched. I don't remember which card I watched, but like the event was pretty dope. Like the fights were really good. The rule set's kind of interesting because it literally is like karate mixed with MMA. Like you're allowed to do ground strikes, but I think it's only for like a few seconds before they stand you back up. Right. Yeah, it's different. But I'm a fan. Whenever the next event is, I'm watching. It's a nice alternative. I hope they. I wonder though, like, is the pit ever going to expand, or are we going to change that background?
The pit should be smaller. That's my take. I mean, this whole entire event is about forced engagements. Let's make the pit like how they do bare knuckle boxing. Where like they just set up hay barrels like 2 feet away from each other, and that's the ring.
Hey man, hey, yeah, you force some more sleepages. I mean, and somebody, I wish I don't have any of the fighters' names, but there were some people getting slept. There was one guy got blasted with like a right hand or something. There was some people getting knocked out though. You guys should go watch though. Karate Combat Inception. Go watch a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie come to life, and then be amazed. I like how their intros were. Their intros were different. It was really weird. It was really different. But like, for me, it was in a good kind of way.
It was jarring.
Yeah, word. But it was entertaining, and in fighting, that's just what you just need, something entertaining, give people a spectacle, some something to hold on to. So yeah, that was the thing. Shout out to Bass Rutten and all the rich people who. I didn't look at the crowd, but I just felt like everybody around the pit was like smug, like.
There was a lot of people who were just not
Right.
interested in what's
Like,
happening.
Like nobody there really cared, minus the fighters and their coaches. Yeah.
Well, that's just the story behind Florida sports in general. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, I don't think it's just sports. I think it's just Florida. No diss to any listeners in Florida. You guys know how.
But, like, this is back on... This is the same state where, like, they had Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James playing on the same team, and they couldn't sell out every night because nobody cared.
Oh man, but yeah, that was a thing. So
There are just some bored-looking women sitting on top of that shipping container.
I gotta go back and just look at the crowd next time I go back and rewatch. But shout outs to Karate Combat. So something different, some other kind of fighting you guys can get behind and support.
We haven't even gotten to the real
Right.
thing yet. Well, should I say the stuff that we actually watched all the way through?
You want to save Rizin for later, or we want to just breeze through that now real quick and the triple?
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing.
I only saw what
watched,
you saw. I sent you the link like right when I woke
Yeah.
up. So I guess we'll do Rizin. We'll go over the Triple G fight because neither of them lasted really long. And then we'll.
Well, the Rising card was all decisions before we got to watch it.
The parts we saw, we only saw 2 fights. So Rizin 10 went down last night, or I guess you'd say early this morning, technically. I guess I'll just go through some of the matches, and then we'll go through the ones that we actually watched. So Kanako Murata won via submission over Lanchana Green. Lord, I cannot pronounce his next guy's name. Jarzino Rosenstruck versus Andre Kovalev. Rosenstruck won split decision. Ante Diha and Ricardo Parcel. Ante won via decision. Ayaka Hamasaki got a decision over Alyssa Garcia. Kai Asakura beat Manel Cape via split decision. Darren Cruikshank head kick Koshi Matsumoto the planet and then flipped him off afterwards. Yusuke Yachi got a split decision over Diego Nunes. I have not seen Diego Nunes' name, and I didn't know he was still around. But shout outs to Yachi though. Always like watching him fight. Kana Asakura got a decision over Melissa Sophia Kariyanis. The co-main event was Tenshin Nasukawa. What was the other guy's name?
Yusaku Nakamura.
Yeah, they skipped that fight on Sure Dog, I guess, because it's a kickboxing fight. Tenshin did some tension stuff. He throws this random rolling thunder, and it was so perfect. I was so mad he didn't end the fight with that. I was hoping that would have been the game ender, but this kid's wild, man. He just does stuff, and it just works. Nasukawa this was a kickboxing fight, and this other dude he did like 5 takedowns, because
he's an MMA fighter.
But
no, like legitimately, he's an MMA
I
fighter.
assume because his record he didn't have a kickboxing record. Like this was his kickboxing debut, and they threw him in with a prodigy, and you can just imagine how that would go. And it went kind of like that. Like Tenshin was blasting this dude with lefts. He dropped him repeatedly. Like I said, he threw just a random rolling thunder and caught him with it. And then I think it was the second round he dropped him with a left, and then they got him out of there. But tension gonna tension. That's how that fight went.
Right. Yeah, he's becoming a star for them.
Yeah.
Like, what you call it? Like, I was this dude Lucas Bourdon on Twitter, a kickboxing fan. He tweeted out like footage of Nasukawa like doing karate when he was like 5 years old, fighting 10-year-olds or something like that. Like he was probably older, But he was fighting kids like 5 years older than him, basically, and like hitting that rolling thunder on them.
So he's been
Like,
literally doing this since he came out the womb.
basically, like, he started when he was what, like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, this kid, like, if you guys have never seen him fight, go watch him fight. This guy is he's different. he's definitely different.
Like, imagine some like a 19-year-old coming out and beating like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like an MMA equivalent for like Sukum Sitsor Thortai. Like, maybe imagine a 19-year-old coming out like being Chris Weidman
Right.
or something like that. Like, and he did that. Like, he beat a former world champion boxer. Granted, it was in kickboxing when he was like 16 years old.
Unheard of. And like technique wise, dude is just super clean. He manages to land these crazy strikes, but like he knows like the perfect distance to pull them off at. It's crazy to watch. So yeah, that those are the fights we woke up on. And the main event, poor Ian McCall, man. First, the man gets injured like 80,000 times and like just seems to never be able to get into a fight. We finally get the McCall Horiguchi fight, which I'm pretty sure if anybody's been keeping an eye on Rizin, like this is a fight we all eventually wanted to see. And we get the fight, and my God, it ends in one punch. I don't remember the exact time. This fight couldn't have went more than like 20 seconds. Like, literally, they touch gloves. They bounce.
It was 9
No,
seconds.
oh my God. They touch gloves. They bounced around for a little bit. McCall, he threw a straight. I think he threw a straight right, and he threw a straight left, and Horiguchi countered him, and
with a left hook of his own.
Lights. Well, he dropped him. I think he landed like one ground and pound hit. McCall,
And the ref
came in, and he proceeded to grab the ref instead of Horiguchi, which kind of let you know he was out of there, and that was it. Like, that was it. That was the whole fight.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's I can't believe the UFC let him out. Like, he's
right, dude. Like, Ian McCall, like, is if you ever want a perfect example why you don't become a fighter, Ian McCall's life is pretty much that. Like, this dude who had to like take a break from fighting in like 2011, 2012 because he got addicted to OxyContin. I'm assuming from the from doing it for like between fights because his body was hurting. Now this was WEC, so it would have been like 2007, 2008. The dude's wife cheats on him with a fellow fighter. That leads to like a fight where I think he got hurt and he had to take time off from fighting for that. His best friend ends up dying, Shane Del Rosario. And then because of all that prior, I'm assuming it's at least in part because of all the prior drug use, like his body just starts failing on him as soon as he hits 30. And like he just can't make fight dates anymore. So, you could be like the real not the real tragedy, but the tragedy of it all is like he's a really good fighter.
Right, like at one point he wasn't ranked number one. He was like top 3 flyweights like in the world.
But when before the UFC introduced the division, he was considered the number 1 flyweight on the planet.
And some would argue that he beat DJ in that first fight.
Right.
Yeah, he just can't seem to catch a break. But on the other hand, the Horiguchi is just, dude, his post UFC fight career has just been him starching people.
And becoming a bigger star outside the UFC in Japan, like, than he ever probably could have become in the UFC, even if he had beaten DJ.
Yeah, because we know how the UFC and promotion works or doesn't work.
If we're being real, DJ's deal with Reebok, not DJ, Horiguchi's deal with Reebok is probably better than anybody in the UFC now named Conor McGregor.
Right. He's winning, so I don't know. Maybe as a fan, it sucks to see him not be in the UFC because I believe he could easily still hang with all of the top guys in the UFC. But
I think the only tough fights for him are Cejudo and DJ.
Right. Everybody else he probably starts is fairly easy. But hey man, if he's over there, everything seems to be working out, and I assume hopefully he's getting paid pretty handsomely over there. So hey man, get your money. keep starching people, putting on exciting fights. So yeah, shout outs to Horiguchi, man. Dude is an animal, to say the least. You want to get into the Triple G fight real quick?
Sure. Vanes Martis. Sorry, I always have to look at his name to pronounce it right. Vanes Martirosyan. I can't pronounce it. I had it this morning when I was watching it, and now I can't say it. Point is, Vanes let Edmund Tarverdyan down. Got knocked out inside the second round by Gennady Golovkin. Actually hurt him in the first round.
Yeah, like his I feel like the first round was Triple G kind of like feeling him out, and Vanes cracked him. He gave him one of them wake up shots that was like, I'm here, like I'm actually here to fight. Like you're not gonna run through me. So yeah, he gave Triple G a couple good shots in that first round, and then the second round, Triple G decided that okay, I guess this is actually a fight. Let me stop playing around. And you know how to.
And then he just machine gunned a bunch of punches.
Yeah. I felt bad for Vanes, man. Like he has this pretty solid first round. It's like, all right, we're in for a fight. Like maybe this will be something interesting. And then Triple G, yeah, like you said, he just machine guns and just pummels poor guy. Yeah, he got him out of there. Second round KO. I was thinking right after this fight. When is the last time somebody from Edmund's gym has won a fight?
That's a good question. I don't know. Did Victor Chinian win his last fight? Like, I swear to God, Edmund is sending like Armenian boxing back like 30 years. Because all these dudes are like, oh, this guy is like a big trainer. He's Armenian. We gotta be loyal to our dude. And then like they go work with him and then they lose. And in all fairness, Vanes could go train with anybody. He probably would have lost his fight just as bad. But like, yeah, like not a good look.
Yeah, not a good look. Oh, and also of note on the same card. On the oh god, I don't have it in front of me.
Co-main event. Cecilia Braekhus fought with Callie Race. It was the first HBO televised women's bout ever. So HBO trying to cash in on the fact that Showtime's out here putting on, not just putting on, but like main eventing with women's bouts. Like Clarissa Shields already main evented 2 or 3 cards on her own. Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Braekhus defends by decision. It was actually probably the most competitive fight for her career. Kelly Rice's women's, what was it? Is it super welterweight or junior middleweight, or doesn't matter?
For boxing, I say it doesn't matter because there's 8,000 weight classes, and I don't know any of them.
Right, but like Kelly Rice is somebody who's fought as high as like for the middleweight title. So she came down and she managed to drop Braekhus. I can't remember what round it was. The 7th round. She dropped her in the 7th round after Braekhus got to an early wide lead. Braekhus recovered, proceeded to box her up, stopped punching with her, and tried to actually outbox her. I want to say Race landed one more big punch. That rocked her, but she was able to capitalize and get the win, or another knockdown. So big moment for Breakhouse. I'm not sure if you heard any of the drama surrounding the making of this fight, but they wanted well, not making of this fight, but I guess in Breakhouse's career in general, with the fight that HBO wants is Layla McCarter versus Breakhouse, and they wanted to pay both of them like $500,000 for the fight so they could be on HBO. But I think Breakhouse's team was like, no, we want $1 million for that fight. And McCarter's team is just like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, this is to be the big, like 500,000 will be like the biggest payday of their career. Like, why won't they just take the damn fight? So that's a little bit of drama going on around with this one.
Yeah, she's trying to cash out.
I mean, yeah, she's 36. She probably doesn't want to. I'm going to assume that she doesn't want to do this forever.
Right. Get that $1 million payday and coast off into the sunset, or maybe you do a few more after that. But everybody's chasing the mill.
Yeah, exactly. And word is she wants to fight Claressa Shields. I'm not sure if that's just bolster or whatever. A fight between welterweight and what was it? Kate Taylor's a lightweight, so that's a fight I heard that Kate Taylor's team eventually wants to get. Again, lightweight's 135. So she would have to jump up 12 pounds, 2 divisions to get it. So I doubt that's happening, but you can always hope. Oh no, that's 130. Oh yeah, 135 pounds. So who knows? There are fights for Breakout. Point being, there's fights for Breakouts moving forward, and that makes me happy.
Pay her the mill. Pay her the mill, man. Yeah. Give her that money. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch the fight. I heard it was really good, but I caught the very, very tail end of it. And also of note on that same card, Nam fan lost a decision to Brian Sabalo. For anybody.
If you can't knock Nam Fam out in 2018, you should just give up on your dreams of being a champion.
Well, I mean, on the scorecards, he won 40-36.
That don't matter. I mean, come on, I'm not trying to be mean or not, but the last time we saw Nam Fam,
I can't even literally remember the last time I saw Nam Fam.
He was getting his ass handed to him in Bellator, if I remember correctly.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Mike Richmond in 40 seconds.
Oh Lord. Oh yeah.
And then he fought after that. He went to Japan, fought on an ACB card in England, but they were all by submission, so I guess that wasn't as taxing on his chin.
Ugh.
Well, this Andy Main fight went 4 rounds, but I didn't see it, so who knows? Point being, this man was punch drunk when he left the UFC, and that was 4 years. Yeah, it was over 4 years ago now.
Oh, if I can find that fight online, I'll go look at it, see if he caught the pause, see how bad it was. But yeah, that fight happened. So yeah, I guess those are pretty much all the other main fights. I mean, there was a lot going on between now and then. We literally don't even have time to cover everything, but those are kind of the biggest happenings that have gone since then. So do we want to start with Bellator or we want to start with Invicta?
Real quick note: John McCarthy was one of the judges for that fight.
Oh, for
the Nam fan, Brian. Yeah, I didn't know he did judging at all actually.
I think that's good though. I think it's good he does judging. He's a half decent. He's a half decent commentator. I'm pretty sure he's pretty decent at judging. Better
right.
than birds.
Shit.
Oh man. I guess I don't know. If we go through Bellator, we can kind of breeze through this.
I mean, Bellator summary: all the jiu-jitsu guys won.
Right.
And then Fedor pulled one out of his ass.
Yeah. So just a quick breeze.
Right.
Right. Just a quick breeze through. Yeah, Fedor main event. Fedor versus Frank Mir. Frank Mir started off okay. He dropped Fedor, I think, with like a right. They got back to their feet.
And then Fedor immediately hit like a hip toss.
Right. Hip tosses Frank Mir. They end up back on the feet. Mir starts getting a little careless. He gets caught with a left. Immediately gets floored. Catch some ground and pound. That's out. That's over. You know, Fedor gets his first win in like I don't know how long, but you know, last Emperor.
Since he beat Jadeep Singh.
Ugh. But
No, he beat Fabio Maldonado. Beat. Well, I mean, he's only fought like since he unretired, which would be in 2015. He's only fought 4 times, and he's 3-1 in that span now.
So good on him.
Like we remember the Matt Mitrione fight poorly, but
oh no, I don't. I was in the theater for that. That was the saddest and happiest moment of my life at the same time.
there was a moment Fedor proved he could still hang.
Right. And get hung somehow. It was that fight was so bizarre. But yeah, so Fedor got Frank Mir out of here. So he fights Chael Sonnen next in this quote unquote heavyweight tournament. That should be interesting. Co-main event.
Side note. So Bellator has I think we talked about this before, but Bellator decides to put on a Grand Prix for heavyweight, right? What possessed them to put the 4 light heavyweights against each other in the first round? Or I should say, two of the 3 light heavyweights against each other, and then 1 middleweight and 1 light heavyweight against each other.
See, I'm gonna say, and this is me trying to make sense of Bellator logic, which nobody should do, but you don't want to put the light heavyweights against all the heavyweights because you want to ensure that a light heavyweight makes it to the semifinals. Because you want chaos. If you're Bellator, you want chaos. I don't remember who I was talking. I think I was talking to my friend Davon about this. Because he was telling me, he was like, could you imagine if like somehow Chael won this whole thing, like Bellator would like fall apart? And I was like, no, Bellator wants Chael to win. Bellator needs chaos. They need anything to just bring attention. Chael winning might be the best thing for them because it's going to get people to look. We all know it's terrible, but but it brings eyes. It brings attention. So you want to make sure that one of these light heavyweights makes it to the finals. And I'm already calling it. Whoever wins between Bader and King Mo, I have winning the whole tournament because I just think that's how Bellator goes. It's just so weird like that.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're Bellator, you want chaos. So.
All right, that makes more sense because I'm like, you could have done the fun matchups first, you know.
You gotta say that for the finale. That's the, you know. I mean,
because Ryan Bader beats the shit out of Roy Nelson in my opinion.
I don't know. We got wrestling Roy Nelson now. He's got the takedown game going. But yeah, this tournament's weird. But yeah. So Fedor versus Chael is gonna be a thing. Co-main event. Manuel Sanchez has been on a nice little run lately. He continues his run. Got a first round submission over Sam Cecilia. I thought a lot of this fight would be on the feet, but they pretty much made it a grappling match. And Sanchez was really aggressive with going for submissions. And he ends with a stand in the arm triangle choke, which was pretty cool to watch. Yeah, Cecilia's got to be like, I'm not Cecilia. Sanchez has to be like right there for a title shot, I would imagine.
I mean, he has to, because like he would be the newest face since like White Show for the first time back in, what was that, like 2015, 2016. It's been a while. My point being, yeah, like hopefully he gets the winner of White Show Pitbull, or like if one of them falls out, he fights whoever is left. Like I just want somebody new in that like conversation.
Yeah, we need a new. We can't keep playing patty cake with the same three people. So insert challenger Emmanuel Sanchez. I think he's earned it. He's been putting in some work. He's gotten some really good wins, especially the Daniel Strauss win. That was a really really big one. So dude's continuing his streak. He's looking good in his streak. So hey man, get a man his shot at the strap. Let's see what he can do. Rafael Lovato Jr., Gerald Harris. I thought Gerald Harris was retired. I guess nobody really retires. I should know that. It's not a real thing.
I mean, you wave enough money around.
Yeah, he'll come back.
Yeah.
Lovato won. I don't remember this fight in much detail. Lovato won via armbar. I know this fight didn't even last that long. It was like a little over a minute.
All I remember is Gerald, like they say on commentary, like Gerald Harris is like, I survived on the ground with who was it that he survived with?
I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like, yeah, he threw so many submissions, and I didn't even know what happened, but I still got out of the fight, and then like 2 seconds later, he's tapping.
Right, and so I'm like, okay, they set him up for failure.
But good on Lovato Jr. Got the armbar, got the W. Next fight.
Real quick, Lovato Jr. is himself probably not that far from a title shot. Like, Shlemenko probably isn't going to be in Bellator for much longer, considering he's upset that they won't book him often. Like Gegard Mousasi versus Rafael Carvalho is right around the corner. Who knows what happens with Rory McDonald next? Like if they give him somebody at like the winner of John Fitch versus Paul Daly, or or they do the Askren fight that they're talking about. So like Lovato Jr. could potentially be fighting for the Bellator middleweight title against like Gegard Mousasi.
This is what's gonna happen. Lovato is gonna have to fight Melvin Manhoef because they just re-signed him, I think, to a multi-fight deal. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Probably.
You can't get rid of Manhoef. But yeah, good win on him. Awesome submission. Keeping the submission trend going. Actually, this whole main card, all 4 fights were like all submission wins.
I mean, look, again, you got Lovato Jr., world champion jiu-jitsu dude, Neiman Gracie, and Dylan Danis, jiu-jitsu guy. I was gonna say, like, is he? Like, I don't know enough about jiu-jitsu recently to talk about Dylan Danis like properly. I know he's really good, but like I don't know if he's like really really good, like Lovato Jr. good. I don't think so, but
Neiman Gracie got Javier Torres out of there. The only fight that went out of the first round. Second round, arm triangle choke. Not really a ton to say. I will say though, he's not afraid to stand on the feet. He doesn't like just spam. Well, there are moments where he kind of does spam, take down, somewhat comfortable on his feet. I'm not saying he's gonna win like a title anytime soon, but Gracie's gonna Gracie, get you down. It's probably not gonna go too well for you. So he got Javier Torres out of there in the second round. And last fight, I guess we'll even mention Dylan Danis versus Kyle Walker. Danis, I mean, I'm not expected to get my mind blown by his stand-up. Probably should work on his striking defense because he got tagged with a couple shots early in the fight. But the one thing he did that I really liked, if you know you're a jiu-jitsu specialist, just pull guard, man. Like he pulled guard. Like as soon as he was able to, because I think he had went for a takedown earlier and he like shot from really far out and he didn't get it. But when he got in position to get that close, he literally just pulled guard, and he ended up like going really aggressive for like a knee bar, and then he switched that to a toe hold and he got Walker out of there. So like I like just the fact that he pulled guard and he was really aggressive about going for the finish. So, I mean, as well as somebody could do for the MMA debut, like I said, you're gonna see holes in the striking, of course, but his jiu-jitsu seems to translate pretty well into MMA. So, hey man, Dylan Danis out here, first round submission. So, I think he had words. Him and Michael Chandler had words on Twitter or something.
I mean,
but
him and Rafael dos Santos had words. Like,
yeah,
Dylan Danis is just trying his hardest to be Colby Covington. So,
that guy. Well, yeah, that was that was Bellator 198 in a nutshell. It didn't last very long. Everybody got out of there real quick. Most of those guys probably made it back home to like watch what was on their DVR and chill out, relax, cook a DiGiorno or something. But so yeah, that was Bellator 198, and I guess we'll move on to Invicta. So Invicta FC 29. Oh Lord, I'm waiting for the page to load. Invicta FC 29 went down. I think this was on Friday. So, powered up the good old UFC Fight Pass to tune in to catch this. I'm still waiting for my page to
load. Main event was a bantamweight title fight between Sarah Kaufman and Katharina Leonard. It was kind of just like your typical Kaufman performance. Like, she fought behind multiple jabs, and when she wasn't doing that, she like kind of flurried so that she could open up the clinch, so she could take Leonard down. And she did, and eventually it led to her getting a rear naked choke in the third round. She had a pretty tight arm triangle in the second that I thought Leonard was going to tap.
I swear she was out for like a brief second. Like, there was a moment where it looked like she went limp and then she came like right back.
Yeah, like she was like telephoning her arm, and all of a sudden, her hand just pops out from between their heads, and it kind of goes stiff. I'm like, oh shit, she's out. But no, she just like did her best bump and roll and managed to get her arm down, and create that space. So, not a bad performance from Leonard. Like, this is by far her toughest fight to date. Like, Sarah Kaufman's still like a top 10 bantamweight. And Leonard's only been fighting pro since 2014. So yeah.
I mean, that's a big jump in competition to go. I mean, I'm not sure. I wasn't too familiar with her, but I'm pretty sure going from fighting whoever she was fighting before to Sarah Kaufman, that's a huge leap.
Right.
Competition. And
I think her best her best two wins are Alexa Connors and Alexandra Butch. And Alexandra Butch is somebody who hasn't been I won't say relevant, but relevant since in a while, 2013. Kaufman should be in the UFC. I don't know what else to say. I know why they're not bringing her back, because she wants $50,000 a fight, which is, in my opinion, what she's worth. I guess I know the UFC doesn't feel the same way, but whatever. I don't know, do you have anything? I really don't have. I'm not down on Leonard for losing.
Yeah, I mean, she made it as competitive, I guess, as
she was going to.
Yeah, she was going to. For me, this fight just came down to it was experience. I think Kaufman just kind of better skilled. Striking's a bit cleaner, a bit crisper. I thought she did a good job of she could pop a jab out, pop out a 1-2, get out of the way. Seems she was catching Leonard a lot with that. Yeah, it just seemed like just kind of like an experience gap. That's a tough test for you to jump from. You're fighting the who's who, and now you're fighting Sarah Kaufman. That's just a big jump. So, yeah, I mean,
Kaufman's only losses are Shevchenko, Marlos Kunin, who was the other one? Ronda Rousey, and Alexis Davis, who it took like 8 rounds for her to beat because they had fought twice before.
Right. So, yeah, she's only lost to the best of the best, and then she's still like as sharp as she's ever been. She doesn't really look like she, at least to me, like on the huge like decline. She just only loses to like the elite competition. So, yeah, like I said, Leonard made it a competitive fight. She landed good strikes. I just think Kaufman was just a bit cleaner on the feet. Didn't expect the takedown to come. I thought this whole fight was just going to be them trading hands, but I mean, good on Kaufman. Like I said, almost got the arm triangle choke, which would have been crazy if she would have sunk that all the way in. But yeah, ends up getting a submission in the end. Bantamweight champ. I don't know if I would hope the UFC would bring her back. I mean, you could just if for no other purposes, you need a body. Like you just need people. Like you need somebody else at 135. Just you need the cases around because we know that division is like it's been thinning out lately. So anybody you can have in there who can put on competitive fights, I would think you would want to keep around. But either way, good on Kaufman, and like I said, decent showing for Leonard. Not a loss to be ashamed of at all. But Sarah Kaufman joins Chris Cyborg as the only woman to hold belts in both Invicta and Strikeforce. So, way to be in pretty good company.
Fancy.
Yeah. Co-main event, Pani Kianzad and Bianca Daimoni. Man, I actually watched this, rewatched this morning. I mean, Daimoni, I feel like this fight was, I don't know if Daimoni could keep up the pace that like she was trying to set. Because I was just like looking at just like body language around like the second and third rounds. And I give her credit because she was pushing forward. She was still throwing. But like, I felt like everything in her facial expression looked like she was just tired. Like, like she just looked so out of it. But like she kept pushing forward. But man, Kianzad was getting busy, man. She was that the second she dropped her with a left or something?
Yeah, she dropped her in the second round.
Pani was she was getting busy, man. Like I felt like she was able to keep the pace that the fight was set at, and kind of like never really let off that pace. Like she was just able to keep throwing, keep pushing forward. Like I said, dropped Daimoni in the third. She really started teeing off. I mean, in the second, teed off on her pretty well in the third too, and it just seemed like she just kind of like overwhelmed her. Like Daimoni was trying to stay in there, but Kianzad was just throwing hands and had good movement. Like I said, was just able to keep up that pace for 3 rounds and got a pretty good decision with some nice, highlight knockdowns going on. So yeah, that was a really good showing for Kianzad.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see because Kianzad, like her whole thing, like the whole way she got to 8-0 as a pro was wrestling. We didn't see any of that. She actually stopped a couple of takedowns, I think. But like in terms of like going for takedowns herself, we didn't see much any of that. Like this was all kickboxing performance from her. Daimoni's really quick and like is actually like a surprisingly hard puncher, but and she was catching Kianzad early with those like every time Kianzad would like kind of stop and stare at her work. Daimoni would kind of counter with that overhand right and actually landed it quite a few times. But like the longer the fight went on, Kianzad seemed to like find her groove. Like the combinations were coming a little bit smoother, I guess would be the word. She did great in the clinch, like just completely like shutting down Daimoni. I would have liked to see her get off more offense. Like she was throwing like those weird like rounded knees, trying to like throw them to like Daimoni's head, but she had the double underhooks and was constantly pushing up into her head. So like the knees were literally just bouncing off the fence. But she did a great job of just working behind the jab. She's like you said, she dropped her in the second. Snapped her head back a bunch of times too with the jab. I'm just really happy to see her get a win because like the division needs her to be competent and like there because she is one of the most experienced prospects out there. So it's good to see that things are starting to gel together for her a little bit.
Yeah, she definitely looked really good. So that was a real solid win. Like I said, lots of hands going on, a couple good knockdowns. So definitely a fight. You guys should check out. So shout outs to Camsoda for getting that win. Next fight, Pearl Gonzalez and Barbara. Is it Ascioli? Pearl. It was weird. Like after this fight was over, I just went and looked at Pearl's record because I was like, how did she get like? She only lost 2 fights in UFC, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's because I don't remember those fights like all that well from memory. Like, did she just look bad or did like?
Well, one was against Cynthia Calvillo. I don't remember the Botello fight, to be honest with you. Like, I think I remember coming away from it thinking like Botello was a pretty good prospect. Let me actually, since I tend to write all this shit down, night of, let me see if I can find that fight. Gonzalez, was landing from distance early in the first, but spent the entirety of the fight looking for bad takedowns along the fence. While Botello was getting muscled around, she was still landing with those Travis Brown-style elbows, started having more success at range as the fight went on, too. Hurt Gonzalez bad with a body kick and a glancing head kick at the end of the third. Was enough to get her the win on short notice. Gonna have to work on her cage. All right. So apparently, Gonzalez was just like showing bad fight IQ in that last fight, and I guess that's what they just cut her.
Because I felt like in Invicta, man, she's been on a mission. Like,
no, she's like, this is the problem, so quote unquote, with what like the women's divisions. Like, she got to the UFC at 6-1, right? Like, if you were a dude, that'd be nothing. Like, you wouldn't, like 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't even be getting like a cup of coffee in the UFC.
right.
Like, there's rare exceptions, and there are like guys who buck that trend, like your David, what was it, Daniel or David Tamor, like who got to the UFC at like 2-0 or 4-0 or something like that, and has been like really good since. But most of the time, like it takes a while to get good at this fighting crap, like a really long time. It takes a lot of cage time and a lot of work. And Gonzalez has been doing this for a while, but she wasn't really active with it because it's hard to get fights when you're a woman. The pool of women who have some type of equal experience to you, if you have like 6 fights, is not very big. Now, like the last fight she had, she fought a woman who was 2-3 before going into the UFC. So like you get there, you run into somebody who is like a straight up blue chip prospect like Cynthia Calvillo, right. and you kind of get you taking a step back, and then you fight someone who is as dogged as Poliana Botello, and you take another step back. So she's taking those experiences and she's learning from. Like, this is only her 11th fight in her pro career. So it makes sense to me that she's it's just now all starting to gel together. And she's have. Yeah,
I was gonna say, because her Invicta fights, this one included, she's been on point. Like, she's fighting with like authority. Like, she's fighting to get people out of there. They started off exchanging on the feet. I think eventually Pearl tagged her with a pretty good 1-2 combination and backed her up a little bit. And then like once it went to the ground, man, like she passed guard, I'm gonna say fairly easily. I think she landed like a little bit of ground and pound. She did make one kind of like I guess maybe, and like I said, I would have to go back and watch her earlier fights where like little moments like this against somebody better could probably cost you. Where there was a moment where oh god, what submission was she going for?
She was going for an armbar from Mount.
Yeah, she went for the armbar from Mount, but it was a real kind of just like kind of lazy attempt. Like it didn't look like it was really set up properly, and she lost position for a quick second. I mean, and she ended up like trying to lock in a triangle, which eventually transitioned to the armbar, and she got the finish. But like I feel like that kind of lapse against somebody of like a higher caliber, that fight could have went another way.
Right. That's a momentum shift.
Yeah. So like those little moments are, I guess I would say things she should, I guess look out for. But I mean, she still got the win. So like she ended up losing position, but ended up, went for the triangle. Threw some nasty elbows from the bottom too while she was trying to lock the triangle in. I think she cut Barbara like on the top of her head, and then ended up just switching to the armbar. Got that in, and that was a minute and 30 seconds, and Pearl rolls on. Like, her Invicta run's been pretty good, man. She's been coming in and just putting in work.
Yeah. I'm interested if she stays at 125 or she tries to go back down to 115. She's not a big 125er. Like she's 5'4". She I think Osceola was way bigger than her, right?
Yeah, Osceola looked pretty big. And I think this was a catchweight. I want to say this was a catchweight fight. Because there's no way they were the same weight class. Barbara looked way bigger than Pearl did.
Yeah, she came in 0.3 pounds overweight, Osceola. So that's probably what that was. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what she does, but I think she's finally becoming a good fighter. So, be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, things are. Hopefully, this could be the beginning of like a good streak, and then maybe we'll, soon we'll get the best version of her, and hopefully maybe she'll get that call back. Going on to the next fight, which unfortunately ended very quickly due to injury. Marcia Allen won against Julia Avila via a finger injury. Literally, Alvia blocked like a front kick and like tried to push it away with her finger, and in the process somehow her finger like completely dislocated out of place. And I thought it was crazy that the ref even spotted it. I think the ref probably noticed it because she was kind of fidgeting around with it. But yeah, it was a really bizarre fight. Like I was kind of hyped because I wasn't familiar with either of them, but I was just looking at their stances and the way they were throwing. I was like, oh, they're about to scrap. Like this is about to be like a barn burner. And then she throws the front kick. Allen threw the front kick. Alvia tried to block it. Got her finger twisted up in some weird way. She didn't. I don't know if she was just not showing emotion, but it seemed like it didn't really bother her. Like she was even like pointing in front of it at the screen and making faces. But ref notices the fingers like bent all out of shape, and they call it off. And that's it.
Yeah, this like Julia Avila, somebody who has wins over a top 10 fighter in like Marion Renault, and a win over the UFC flyweight champion Nico Montano. Like that's not how you want to lose your girl. Like if she won this fight, I would hope she'd be in the UFC. You never know, but like that's not the way you want to lose. But like shouts to like Marcia Allen, the Black Widow, because this is a nice little run for her. She's like on a 4-fight winning streak now. Like again, not the way you want to win a fight or lose a fight, but like she did hurt her opponent.
All right, she did her job.
She did her job, and you can't take anything away from her for that. And she did it inside of a minute.
I would hope they run this back though.
I hope they do, unless like Allen gets a call from the UFC and it's just like, oh, we need somebody to fill in on short notice, which is how I think she would get in the UFC. Like I don't think she's gonna make a run, but like she's been doing this for a minute, since like 2012. Like she was on she fought Jessamine Duke in Invicta like all those years ago.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, She was the girl who pulled Jessamine Duke's hair, and then Jessamine Duke is like, F this, and then just elbowed the crap out of her before she got the armbar.
Oh man,
that's back when we thought Jessamine Duke had like a future. And side note, I think Edmund ruined what could have been a promising pro career for Jessamine.
Lord,
I really think like for all the crap with Ronda and Brown and like Ellenberger and all the other people went through there, like he messed up Jessamine's career the most.
how do people even still?
Because this is what happens when you validate somebody. Like, this is what happened when Ronda validated Edmund.
I don't even know what possessed somebody to even, like, you see the results. It's like, why are you even bringing your bags to this gym? You know what's gonna happen to you.
From what I can tell, it's like a really laissez-faire atmosphere in the gym, and I guess like a lot of people like enjoy that. Like, you don't have somebody screaming in your ear like, get it. Like, or because like besides that, like someone like Duke is probably not from a very big gym, and you get to go and you hang out with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler and like all these UFC fighters. It feels validating, or
validating to you. You step in where it matters.
right.
But shout out to Marcia Allen and hopefully Avila. I'm pretty sure her finger. Hopefully it'll be okay. Hopefully she can get back in there sometime soon. Hopefully they could run that fight back. I'm
not sure if she did she dislocate it or did she break it.
The broadcast said dislocated. I don't know though, man. That finger was pretty
gnarly.
Yeah, it was definitely bent in a way no finger should go. So I don't know. I'm not sure how long she'll be sidelined for, but it did not look pretty at all.
Oh, no, that's broken.
Yeah, it was. It's bad when you stick your fingers out and like one of them just kind of looks like it's missing. So that's how that looked. But
right.
Moving on, Liz Tracy versus Sherry Morosky. All I remember is Tracy putting on like a pretty good wrestling clinic, and just kind of beating Morosky up. I want to say during the third, I think Morosky kind of started to come on a bit more. I think Tracy was kind of getting a bit tired, a little winded, so Morosky was able to get more off. But it just seemed like Tracy was stronger. The grappling was just better. Like she was just able to smother her and just overwhelm her for the better part of 3 rounds, pretty much.
Yeah.
With her streaking blue hair.
Yeah, no, like that was just like you said, that was just a wrestling clinic for the first 2 rounds anyway. I only vaguely remember this fight. Like I remember the wrestling. I don't remember much else.
That's pretty much what it was. It was just, it was a lot of wrestling. It was just pretty one-sided of her pretty much in like dominant positions the whole fight, just pushing a pretty high pace, and then Morosky tried to turn it around in the third, but kind of a too little too late kind of situation. But yeah, Liz Tracy and the blue hair got it done. So shout outs to her. This next fight, Lisa Spangler and Sarah. God, they were pronouncing this all during the broadcast, and now I don't know how to say it. Klitschko? Okay.
Yeah.
This fight was kind of weird because I feel like there were stretches of this fight. Well, actually, you know what? Before I even get into this, because and I hope I'm getting this right, I want to say Klitschko was the fighter on this card who she literally just fought like 6 days ago.
Yeah, she fought yeah,
and
not even a week ago,
yeah.
I think.
So that's crazy. You just fought a week ago, and you got to think I'm pretty sure for that fight, you have to cut weight. And now literally you have another fight like 6 days later. So now you have to kind of do that process. I mean, maybe not all over again, but still, that's a really quick turnaround. I imagine that's got to be pretty hard on your body, even though she left that fight unscathed. Because I think they mentioned that during the broadcast. They were like, hey, if you make it out of this fight and you don't get hurt, you can come in here. And she left that fight with virtually no damage, but that's a tough turnaround either way, no matter if you won or lost. But yeah, it seemed like there were stretches of this fight where like Klitschko was just kind of playing the outside, and nobody was really doing everything. It was kind of like the bull and matador, like you're kind of just waiting for something to happen. And then eventually they would step in and exchange. Lisa had a really nice sweep and like trip in that first round. I don't think it really led to anything, but like the trip itself was just pretty good. There was one really random violent spat that I thought was really awesome where I can't remember if it was the second or the third round where Klitschko had shot in for a takedown and Lisa sprawled, and then she just went on this violent, just like she just started throwing. Like, it was like she was just trying to go for a KO off of a sprawl. It was really wild to watch. And she just started spazzing out for a couple seconds, but I think Klitschko ended up getting back up. Yeah, I think Spangler just kind of won just kind of off of volume. Like, Klitschko was playing a lot of the outside, and she would lunge in every now and again. I mean, she would land a few good hits here and there, but I think Spangler just kind of landed a bit more. It seemed like it was just two counter fighters who were just waiting for the other one to make a mistake. So there were just stretches where not too much was happening. But when exchanges did happen, I think Spangler was she was more active and she got the better of those exchanges. And she had, like, I guess the more, significant strikes, if you want to call them that, of the fight. So, yeah, Spangler ended up taking that decision.
Yeah, no, that was a good debut for Spangler. She was like 9-1 as an amateur, so I was kind of looking forward to seeing her debut. World needs more women's bantamweights, so she's really good from mid range. Like when she was throwing combination, like when either she or Klitschko would close the distance, like. She was doing like a really good job there, whether it be on the counter or be on the offensive. But like you said, there was like a little bit too much waiting around. She did an okay job of like scoring with like leg kicks and stuff from range, but like you want to see a little bit more activity. Klitschko was pretty fast for like somebody who basically had one leg. So that took me by surprise. Like she was jumping into close range, but there was not much variety. So after a while, like Spangler was just like teeing off on whatever whenever she was try to close the distance. Like you said, she kind of just spazzed out with the violence at the end of the second round. But yeah, no, other than that, like, just solid debut for Spangler. Like, hope she gets back out there soon. You should be fighting 3 times a year minimum if you're this young in your career. I think she's like 26. Yeah.
Shoot up the ladder while you can. Get your name out there. But yeah, good. One from Spangler. Next fight, Macy Chiasson and Allison Schmidt. Man, Macy was speaking of teeing off, really long, lanky 45er.
She's listed at 5'9", but like she looks taller than that, right?
She looks like she was like 5'10", 5'11", borderline 6 foot. She's a big, not like bulky 45er, but just like she's definitely well built. Definitely, I don't know what her reach was, but I almost felt bad for Schmidt because I felt like this whole fight was just her trying to close the distance and like clinch and get a takedown, and it just wasn't working. I mean, she got a few clinches in, but nothing she was able to really take advantage of, and kind of weird. 'Cause Macy has like this kind of weird stance where like her hands are kind of low, but she's like really like, I don't know, it's really weird. But she was teeing off, man. Like she was landing some really hard body kicks, or like she would follow a body kick with like a right left behind it. She punished Schmidt a few times when she would try to close the distance. She would definitely eat some shots on the way in. She dropped. Didn't she drop her like twice? I think. I'm gonna think of another fight.
I think she rocked her. I don't think she ever
Yeah,
dropped her.
she tagged her with. I wish I could remember. I want to say it was like a left, but she tagged her with a really good strike. I can't remember the entire setup of it, but nah, Macy looked really good though. Like I said, it was a lot of power shots. She punished Schmidt a lot of time for closing the distance. Schmidt was just never really able to. It was like she couldn't overcome the size and like the reach, and like even the moments where she would get in close, she wasn't able to do much with it. And meanwhile on Macy's, and for the better part of 3 rounds, man, she was dishing out some pretty mean punishments. Like I said, lots of really good body kicks. I want to say she stunned her a couple times, but yeah, she had moments where she was definitely teeing off, man. She landed some really hard power shots. So yeah, this was a really good performance from Macy. She is definitely all of 145 pounds. There's no way she's like 5'8" or 5'9". She's got to be like 5'11". She's pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about this fight. It was like a fight between 2 actual featherweights, not 2 like kind of bloated 135ers. Like Chia-san is never going to make 135. Schmidt is probably never going to make 135 if she hasn't already, because she's like 36, I think. I like you said, like when when Chia-san like commits to throwing punches and like kicks from range, like she's a firecracker. But my thing was like she wasn't really active. She didn't really string combinations together all too much. Like there was a lot of one and dones. That's actually a big reason why like Schmidt was able to grab her leg and run her into the fence. She wasn't able to take her down, but there was a lot of like clinch fighting that Schmidt initiated, and Chia-san would sit there for like 30 seconds trying to fight out from double underhooks and stuff like that. But she showed off like good takedown defense. Showed off that really good timing with some of those punches. Like I'm hoping she develops. I'm hoping that we don't have to see her fight Felicia Spencer next.
Oh, they mentioned that because that was her first, I think, amateur fight.
Yeah.
And her only loss, well, doesn't count as a pro loss because it was an amateur fight, but that's like overall her only loss in MMA.
No, she lost another fight. She got knocked out.
She did?
Yeah. That's why I thought this fight was gonna be like ended in a knockout, because they both hit pretty hard. But she got knocked out against who was it? Anna Dempster. In a lightweight fight a few years ago. Is that Dempster a pro fighter now? No, not yet. There's somebody to look out for. 5'8", fighting at 155. As an amateur, probably means she's gonna fight 145 pro. But pro fighter things, man.
And she's what 2-0 as a pro, I think now.
Chia-san's now 2-0 as a pro. I'm assuming she's going to try out for the upcoming tough season because she's American. She's a featherweight.
I would hope. Go do some damage. And the division needs you. The division needs everybody.
I was gonna say like I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. Like she could be like Yusajiro Eubanks and Nico Montano, just run through the old people in the division. or she could just go out there and underperform.
We'll see though.
But like I think this would be like a good thing for her.
Yeah, and like you said, it's good to have somebody who's an actual, like, legit 45er, and not just going up a weight class just because.
I don't want to cut weight.
Right, like legit 145er, well built for the division, has a skill set that like fits her size. She knows how to use it fairly well. So somebody to maybe keep an eye on. God, I want to mention this last fight, but my page froze.
Helen Peralta versus.
Oh, there we go. Cheyenne Vlismas.
Yes.
I wish I would have rewatched this fight. This was the only. It always sucks. I always feel bad for the very first fight of the card because that's normally the one fight I never get around to rewatching again. But I remember after this fight really liking what I saw from Peralta, like hands on hands, on hands. I want to say she tagged her pretty. Was it the first? I feel like there were a lot of moments in the fight where she tagged her, but then my memory of this fight is kind of hazy. But like I just remember really being impressed with Peralta. Like I think she only like 2-0. Like I don't think her.
Yeah, this is her second fight.
Second fight, yeah. Like
her pro debut was literally back in January.
Yeah, so like for somebody this be their second pro fight, like she showed signs of promise of somebody like me she could morph into somebody. Like there might be somebody worth
to keep an eye on.
Keep an eye on her.
Like just for like starting off point and everything. Her first exposure to MMA was Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm. She literally started training like a couple of days after that. So she has not been like this isn't like, oh, I've been doing karate since I was like 8 years old and like I finally got around to trying this MMA thing, or I was a boxer who was in the gym for like 10 years before I tried MMA. Like she's literally just been doing this crap for like 2 years. And she's gotten this good already.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that impresses me a lot is just like she stays with her above her feet when she punches, which is something if you've ever been like in the gym with like people who are just starting out, it's something that they never. It's something that comes hard. Like you always feel like you're an inch away from like hitting somebody, so you always reach out a little bit more, and you can get caught on your feet doing that. But like she throws in combination. She sits on her punches really well. She moves pretty damn well. She's added kicking to her arsenal since like 2 months ago. And she's doing it really well. Like there's a lot to like about Peralta. Like I guess her one downside is like she's 29 years old, but that's not 29 coming off like a wrestling career where your knees are shot.
Right.
That's 29 isn't. I just started training like 2 years ago, right. So I started in my prime.
Right. Body still fresh. I want to
no wear and tear.
Right. So, no wear and tear. I want to say that I feel like I'm mixing all my fights up. Did she drop Vlismas?
I want to say she did at one point, or she at least hurt her really hard.
Because I think there was like a random like left that she threw, that just kind of like, like Vlismas kind of like ran into it, and she just like, it wasn't like a drop like, oh, she's about to be finished. It was more like, it was like one of those flash hits, like, oh snap, like I didn't think I was gonna get touched like that, and then she like,
yeah, that might have happened. Like this was 2 days ago. A lot's happened since then.
But yeah, Peralta looked really good though. Like that's to be this young in your career and you look like that. She looked as polished as you would hope someone that young would look.
It was a left hook.
That
dropped.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just watching it now. Bam.
Yeah, it was like one of them flash hits. Like, oh snap! Like it happened like kind of fast, but. Yeah, man, really good showing from Peralta. So she got the decision over Cheyenne Vlismas, and that was the card. So I appreciated this Invicta card. It wasn't that long. Got through it pretty quick. Even though I had to watch most of it the next day because I was really tired on Friday and I have to work Saturday mornings. But yeah, that was Invicta FC 29. Pretty solid. Card from top to bottom, so you got the chance to see Kaufman get a strap in another organization. Good performances from Pearl, a few young up and comers doing their thing, and nasty broken finger.
Yeah, they already announced the date for Invicta FC 30. So we don't have to wait around and wonder when we're going to see Invicta again.
Yeah, so.
No, you know what I'm kind of angry about though?
What?
They didn't ask Shannon Knapp about Invicta boxing. Is that still a thing that she's trying to do?
I forgot about that. Oh, speaking of, did you see the Zuffa boxing rumored Mikey Garcia is gonna be the first dude?
It makes all the sense in the world that Mikey Garcia is the first dude.
And I didn't know Goldenboy MMA is a thing, or allegedly gonna be a thing.
And Chuck Liddell's coming back.
Yeah.
I don't like that was announced in the same video with Oscar De La Hoya and Chuck Liddell standing there.
Boy, this is gonna be an interesting year, man.
This sport's gonna get really messy really quick. Messier than it is now, I guess.
All right, hold on. So Goldenboy MMA. Are we trying to do Chuck and Tito? What is this? 4, 5? I don't know. Forgot how many times Chuck put the pause on him.
They would have to do it in Bellator, I think, because Gio still signed to Bellator.
Oh yeah. Oh man. All right, so I would say, between Zuffa boxing and Goldenboy MMA, which promotion you think would be more successful?
Just straight up not Golden Boy, Mikey Garcia. If UFC signs Mikey Garcia. Like I imagine like neither one will be like a huge moneymaker, but like I think there's more money to be made in boxing from. I don't want to say there's more money to be made in boxing, but like I think it's easier to make somebody who you have sole focus on in boxing, like a draw, whether that's a live gate draw or a TV draw, or just work out a TV deal so you have them on TV. Then it's to make a business like based around it, Like it's gonna be Mikey Garcia and a bunch of like local Boston dudes who Zuffa boxing is based around. Like maybe Adrian Broner after like he finishes like his mental breakdown and actually reaches his low point, but like that's it. Like I think people underestimate how much these guys actually look into and research like the promoters and stuff. Like every once in a while you get to do who still signs with Don King, but like Shakur Stevenson knew what he was getting into when he signed with Top Rank, Or at the very least, he understood Top Rank's history.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like for both, like what kind of talent are they gonna bring in, and not even that, like how often are we gonna get Zuffa boxing events? Like,
are they gonna be running up against UFC events?
Yeah, like I don't know how this is all, and like what are they even gonna well, I assume, I guess Zuffa boxing would that end up, I guess, on Fight Pass, I would assume, somewhere. But like yeah, I don't know how all these. I mean, and it's still in the very like beginning stages. I don't even know if any of this is like concrete, just kind of rumors and pictures that have been floating around. But
another question is, crap, who are they working with? Like, are they going to be able to put on cross promotion events? Like, are they going to be able to work with Goldenboy? Because Bob Arum hates Dana White, and vice versa. Like, they're not going to work together. I don't know what I don't know what Top Rank's how Top Rank's gonna be. Like, it took forever for like anybody to do any type of business with Rock Nation Sports. Because like they're out here handing out $10 million checks to freaking Miguel Cotto for drawing 1 million people on TV. So who knows how people are going to feel about an MMA guy getting into the sport, and like, is this going to close a lot of doors for Mikey Garcia?
I don't know. I feel like this is all just happening on like a whim. Like dudes just woke up one day and they were bored. Like, hey, let's just make Zuffa boxing and see what happens. I don't know. Gotta find some way to pay back this $4 billion. I don't know.
I think
But
this is just
if
Dana.
anything else,
I think this is just Dana's pet project, to be honest with you. He always
I
wanted to be a
mean,
boxing promoter.
if nothing else, you know we're gonna get some shenanigans for better or worse from this. And I mean, at the end of the day, what else can you ask for? You know, which is mindless entertainment. I'll probably watch. I'm all for a good train wreck. So, I mean, if it turns out being terrible, I'll be front and center. I'll take the bullet for you guys to let you guys know what you're missing or not really missing at all. But yeah, so Zuffa boxing and Goldenboy MMA. Be on the lookout. Coming to a stream somewhere near you, possibly.
A clusterfuck near you.
Yeah. We miss anything?
Probably, but at this point, who cares?
Yeah. If we didn't mention you, might not have been important. Shots fired. But I wanted to give a shout out to LFA, but I didn't even get a chance to watch. I was really tired yesterday. I fell asleep while I was watching some of the fights, and I felt bad because the fight I was watching was really good, and then I passed out.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. But and then somebody on that card got their arm broken.
Yeah.
And I really hate limb injuries. They really freak me out. But I wanted to watch that fight to see how it even happened.
Speaking of the Book of Ryan, because the Eminem's verse on there is about Anderson Silva snapping his leg.
Oh my God, I was so mad when I heard that punchline. And he stretched it out for 4 bars. It was like, come on, man. That was an emotional time for me. I don't really like to remember that.
My reaction was, come on, man. You didn't need to use half your verse to describe the leg injury. You could have said snapped his leg at Anderson Silva and then moved on with it.
Yeah, just went on.
He had to explain it. He broke his leg and then he tried to put it down the mat and he
right. You know what's crazy though? In these last couple years, I've noticed between rap and battle rap, MMA punchlines are slowly becoming more of a thing, and Anderson Silva I think has gotten the most. I've heard at least 3 or 4 Anderson Silva shin snap punchlines, but I'm like, why can't we remember him for everything else that happened before that? Why do we have to? We don't need to bring that up. I always hear an Anderson Silva punchline. Or I've heard Pettis used a few times too, with him jumping off the cage.
Right.
So, shout out to MMA. You guys are making it to punchlines and rap songs. So
we'll get Dana White will get the black people eventually. when they go to Atlanta, they'll just stop being all the dudes from suburban Atlanta and not the actual people from Atlanta.
Oh man. Did you listen to all the book?
Yes.
So you heard the Caterpillar remix with Logic?
Yes.
Oh man, how do you feel about the Logic?
I mean, I don't care. I'm not a Logic guy, so.
Okay, so I like Logic, but at the same time, Logic does things that just make me want to pull him in a corner and just be like, don't do that.
I don't. I remember people being upset about the verse, but I don't remember the verse in particular.
So this is where I'll step in.
Oh, I pulled it. I pulled it up. Yeah. Sold 250,000 records in my first week, and BET still won't let me perform. Maybe because of my pigment. Maybe because I'm ignorant. Maybe it's a figment of my imagination and exaggerations exacerbates that I'm the illest. Yes.
See, the thing... Alright, where do I start with this? This is a random rant. I thought the verse started off okay. It's this thing that Logic does that pissed me off on the last album, Everybody. So just a quick synopsis, and I don't care. I did a whole review on this, but I won't talk about it again because it ties into this song. So on Everybody, he would have moments of a really good song, but he would ruin it by going on like these really long rants at the end of the song. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't listen to this to just hear you talk. Like, so the verse starts off great, and he starts doing his rapping, and he brings up the mixed race thing, which he brings up all the time. I'm like, all right, whatever, I get it. This is your issue that you're dealing with, fine. But he goes on this really long rant at the end of that verse, and I was like, why do you do this? Just rap it out, but don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to hear you talking to me. Don't do that again, Logic. Just don't ever.
We're in the era where I was gonna say white dudes, but Logic's technically not white. But for the sake of my argument, let's say Logic is white, and he is white. Okay, confusing, but there seems to be some sort of neurosis around the topic of race for white rappers, because that shit killed Macklemore's career with a quickness.
It's.
What was the name of this song? White Privilege 2? Or 1? Or
I don't know. I know Macklemore came out the gate swinging. It's kind of weird because I've known about Macklemore for a long time. Like, I didn't listen to him much, but I remember, like, when he was underground, like, he had a really big fan base. And then, like, he hits the mainstream, and it just seemed like after the whole Kendrick Lamar thing, like, his career just... I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably still has fans, but from the outside looking in, it kind of looks like his career just... I don't know what happened to it.
Well,
but
it was probably in part the Kendrick thing, but, like, also, I think he just stopped working with Ryan Lewis. Like, Ryan Lewis was like, I'm out, and went to go do something else.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this, but, like, this unruly mess I made went gold, so...
No, that's what I said. Like, he's fans. I'm pretty sure he's pretty still probably doing well.
And to be honest, Ryan Lewis is probably a large part of why, like, all those songs really took off. Like Thrift Shop and Can't Hold Us Down, like, or Can't Hold Us, or, like, the production was a huge part of that.
Yeah, I don't know but Logic though, man, just if you're gonna talk about this over and over again, I guess I'm just gonna have to accept it. But just just wrap it out. Don't give me this long rant at the end, and like you on somebody else's song, like. How dare you come on Book of Ryan and, like, I don't know if that's on a deluxe, if that's like a deluxe edition, but, like, that's the last thing you hear on the album. That's a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to end this album with you talking for like a minute and 30 seconds.
How do you think Royce the 5'9" felt about this?
Like, he emails Logic the song. He's like, "Hey man, do your thing. Can't wait to hear your verse."
He's just sitting in the studio, just like listening to the song, and he's like, "What the fuck did I just let happen?"
Right.
We already paid the dude for the feature, so I'm not gonna just leave it.
Right. Eminem, you don't get off the hook either, and not even for the Anderson Silva thing. Like, you can't give me verses like this and at the same time give me Revival. Like, so disrespectful.
I mean, I just think he can't carry a project. Like,
I think he can. I think his problem is, I think he's not hit chasing. I think that's the wrong. I don't think he's chasing hits, but I feel like he's
like somebody said in an album review somewhere where, like, he what was the last, like, good one he recorded before that I Need a Doctor song?
What was the last decent Eminem? Marshall Mathers LP2 was decent. There was some good songs.
I'm gonna just go back real quick. So we had I'm Not Counting Hell, the sequel, Recovery, Relapse, Curtain Call. There's the Encore. Was Encore? I don't remember Encore, so I'm gonna just say, but I'm gonna cut it off at Encore. So that's 2004, and he goes away for a while, and he comes back in 2009, right? Somewhere between 2004 and 2009 he got really into like Skylar Grey songs.
Yeah.
And like I guess he just liked this way that's what's it called? Or what was his song with Toto or Dodo, whoever her name is
I mean,
Dado.
Dado?
There we go.
Yeah,
All right. So I guess he just really liked the way that sounded with her in the background. So he's just like, yo, I had to have that on every single album.
Yeah, and this is like, just stop. Like, and it's frustrating because I feel like him and Jay-Z they're in that rare musical space where like you guys have accomplished so much that at this point you don't need to chase hits or chase a number one single or try to make something to appeal to a crowd. Like you can literally just do whatever you want and people are gonna check it out because you are.
And the beauty of all that is we're no longer in the singles era of music. Like if you're a big enough name and you just drop a hot song, you're going to get like 1 million people streaming it like 5 times and you're going to have a hit record regardless. Like
Right.
J. Cole's whole album gets to go in the top 100 because people stream it so damn much.
Right. So it's like I feel like I think Alchemist is still signed to Shady Records. I don't know who these producers you're working with on Revival. I don't think Dre was on there at all. I hope Dre wasn't a part of that. But just get with Alchemist and just rap.
So it's Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin and Skylar Grey produced Walk on Water.
Ugh.
Then you got 2 Mr. Porter tracks with Eminem. Eminem helping out. Eminem does Untouchable, Mr. Porter, Batson, and Haney.
I like Mr. Porter. I want
Dr. Dre does Remind Me intro. Rick Rubin does Remind Me. Just Blaze for Like Home with Alicia Keys. Like Hit Boy does Nowhere Fast with Kalani.
Ugh. I mean, these are good producers, but I
can just imagine them all just standing in the studio while Eminem's telling them what he wants.
Yeah, this dude just rap.
Nobody asked for a freaking Eminem album with like an Ed Sheeran feature on it.
Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again.
Also, you don't need albums that are 19 tracks long. This isn't the 90s anymore. Like,
yeah, that was a task to sit through.
And
to his credit, that 2 of the better songs I thought were at the end. It was like Castles and I forgot the other one. There were like 2 decent at the end. But yeah, a lot of that album was a task.
Like Jay-Z dropped a personal, revealing, self-deprecating, like tone about his life currently, and it was 36 minutes long, and 10 songs long. Like,
and it was good.
It was good.
Like it was good.
Really good.
Stop.
Like, yeah.
We don't need you to chase hits anymore. Like, don't do that. Just
I'm
rap.
not even sure. Like, he's not even chasing hits in like 2018. He's chasing hits in like 2012 or something.
Right. Like
if he really wanted to chase a hit, he would just get like a trap drum beat.
Like, just rap, dude. Just rap. Don't stop chasing hits. Just some bars. Give me a simple hook. Just rap. Clearly, you still have some good verses in you. You could give me a solid 12-track album and just rap. But yeah, that whatever. Booker Ryan's awesome though. Not to get lost in the sauce of that one track. The track wasn't bad. It's just Logic's verse bothered me. Eminem's verse was really good. I just took the Anderson Silva shot personal. But Booker Ryan's awesome. I'll be reviewing that hopefully sometime in the near future. But that's about all for today's show. So I guess before we leave, parting shots and shout outs. Didn't really write any down, but I guess I will give a shout outs to the NBA playoffs, which have been pretty awesome as of late. Shout outs to the Toronto Raptors for being the Toronto Raptors, doing what they do in every postseason, which is show up and choke.
LeBron James is literally just playing recreational basketball.
Right.
Like,
LeBron is just making up shots as he goes, and they
he
work.
he literally might as well just be playing with like your local like police officer and like the dude who owns the deli and stuff. Like they're just all at the Y, and they just can't guard this one guy, and that's LeBron.
Yeah, they're about to get Toronto out here with the broom. I'm really disappointed. Okay, no. All right, I do have a shot. I have to throw a shot to the Philadelphia 76ers. I didn't watch a lot of the game because I was catching up on all the fights. But I did catch. I caught like the end of the fourth quarter and I caught the overtime. And that overtime was atrocious from Philly. Like there were so many terrible passes. Everybody looked like they were lost. Like it looked like nobody really knew what the game plan was. Lots of just lazy passes that were getting intercepted and ran the other way for like a point. It was bad. It was
And they
terrible.
still only
Like,
lost by one bucket.
but it's just like, and I have to give Boston a lot of credit because that team is decimated with injuries, and they're still out here scrapping for wins. Shout out to Brad Stevens. That dude's a really, really good coach. But Philly, man, what were y'all doing in that overtime? That was terrible. Like, that was really, really bad.
This is kind of what happens when your team's led by a dude who plays like 30 games a season and, you know, a rookie.
Yeah. All right, people, we are back. Made it to the very last part of the episode, and then my computer decided to just quit. So I hope it got my rant about Philly, but just in case it didn't, my parting shot was to the Philadelphia 76ers for that awful overtime. For the Boston Celtics, and I can't think of anybody else to shout out. I guess shout outs. I'm really looking forward to LFA 40, headlined by Kevin Aguilar and Ton Lee. I think that happens later this month. So just throwing it out there. That'll be a pretty fun fight. I think you guys should watch. So shout out to both of those guys. But that's all I got.
Shouts to Isaac Dogbe, who's upset. Was it Jesse Magdaleno? I think that was. Let me just check real quick. Blah 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 blah. Yes. Back. Was it? This was last week, I think. God, it feels like forever ago. Upset him. 11th round knockout. Yeah. Recently, like it feels like there's been a lot of dudes who've been brought over from Africa to just kind of be like, I don't want to say like filler, but like the dudes who are definitely not the A sides, you know what I mean? But they have been like showing up and, you know, putting on a show every single time, or, you know, even in some cases arguably winning world titles and stuff. Like who was the dude before this from Namibia? Well, not important, but Isaac Dogbe came in, 23 years old, knocked out Jesse Magdaleno in the 11th round, got himself the WBO Super Bantamweight title. Yeah, that was a really great fight. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. My other shout out, Battle of the Nations, night fights.
Hey.
Night fights. It's amazing. It's 21 on 21. Men, women with hatchets and swords and shields and those like a mace type thing. And they're just beating the crap out of each other again and again and again. And it's amazing.
And the USA gets bodied every time.
Because the American team is made up of history teachers and nerds. And the Ukrainian and Russian teams are made up of just dudes who are just down to fight.
Yeah, they're about this life for real.
Exactly. Like if they weren't in armor, they'd still be out there swinging hatchets at each other.
Right. Oh man, I think the couple matches I watched, like I don't remember how they keep track of score, but Poland was killing us. It was bad. It was bad.
We need to get our night fighting program up to speed. Like we've had thousands of years. Come on.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm still waiting for the samurai fights. Still waiting for somebody to. How about that night fight setup where they were just like randomly outside? Wasn't it like raining?
It wasn't random, but it was amazing. Like, what was that? That was sword and Buckner. I can't remember what the other word was.
I know the chicks love the Knights, man. They were really hype in that crowd.
I mean, who doesn't love the Knights?
Yeah. Well, that's you wanna pull a number, become
Oh,
a
it was
Knight.
pole arm dueling. That's what it was.
Is that up on YouTube?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna try to, if I can remember, leave a link to that. You guys should definitely check that out because it's literally Knight fighting.
Yeah. This is not like a joke. These are like grown adults dressing up in legit, like real knight armor. Like I don't even know what any of it's called, but just like metal armor, and just going out there with swords and hatchets and just hacking away at each other.
Between that and karate combat, I don't know what else you could really ask for in the world. Like, it's all here. Oh man, any other shout outs?
I don't know, Travis Gambino, because again, music video was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that as soon as we wrap up, which I guess will be now. But before we leave, I forgot to do plugs in the beginning. As always, this podcast can be listened to on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and definitely leave a review. We would greatly appreciate it. We can also be listened to on Google Play. You can send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. You can hit us up on Facebook at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, and you can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. And that's about it. As I said before, though, you guys will get 2 episodes this week. I'm probably going to work on the finishing of this album review and record again right after I finish this. So, more content's coming, pretty much back to regularly scheduled programming. And once again, I always got to shout out to the Tumblr fan base. You guys are awesome for always reposting the links and everything. So, love you guys. Appreciate it. But that's about all we got for today. As always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we'll be there to talk about it. And hopefully we catch you guys soon.